All right, we're back here at Bloodbath Tactics, where we talk about competitive Warhammer, what we've done in recent tournaments. We usually have a guest on here with some faction focuses. I am joined here by our boy Ben.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I took a couple weeks off, couple of shows off. Cass had some seriously good guests on, though, in the meantime, but it's good to see you all again.
And I mean, it's Stampede time, too. Like, in the city, it's absolutely bananas.
It's been very strange time personally, professionally. It's been a weird month, but we're back at it. Happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. And we're joined here by our friend here. Pretty excited about this guest. We recently actually just fought in a tournament here, and he did get the better of me. He's now going to, he got a golden ticket to the Worlds in Atlanta this year, and we're here to talk about World Leaders. It's our boy Frasier.
Hey everybody, good to be on the show. First kind of time on a podcast, so I don't know how it's going to turn out, but certainly excited to talk Warhammer and about the army I love. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for coming, man. You've just been on an absolute tear right now. What's your record right now? Like, say in the last 2 months, since you've been kind of, because you only came back a little bit, like in like the last 2 months, 3 months, right?
Like in singles, or are we counting the doubles?
Don't count this tournament. No.
I've lost one game since January, and
Right.
I've played in quite a few tournaments, and that was against Tau on Player Place Terrain, which was not an excuse.
That's right.
But it was good. I feel World Leader's in a really good spot right now, and it's difficult to lose with them.
Fair.
Hot take.
That's fair. No, that's a hot take.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that means you're actually good at playing them, because even the best players lose sometimes. But if you've lost once in 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is, that's pretty impressive. I think the first time I saw you was at, I think, the Alberta Classic. Had you not played a lot of 10th before that, or let's start at the very beginning. How'd you get into Warhammer? We can kind of move from there.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So I had a buddy in Regina, because that's where I went to university, called Nathan Skrzuti, and we actually played a lot of rugby together. And he's like, "Hey man, like I play this really cool board game called Warhammer," and he was really good at it at the time. He was the kind of guy that like wouldn't lose for like extended periods of time. And I kind of saw that as like kind of a challenge. So never really heard of the game before. I've heard of like Warhammer in general, but like I didn't know how it played. So went over to his place, like watch a game, and I was like trapped in it. Like I was quite invested like right away.
Yeah, we all got trapped.
Immediately went out and I bought like 1,000 Suns, start collecting.
Nice.
Bought Magnus, bought a couple Knights, and my buddy Morgan got into it at the same time. And he's really competitive as well. So I got into it like during COVID. So because we couldn't really go out and do anything, there were no tournaments, no anything. We kind of spent like that entire year just like one-upping each other. And we're playing each other like back and forth for like months and months and months and months. I eventually got into like Chaos Demons Monster Match, because I really like melee archetypes in general. So I like my big guys, which is why I like bringing Angron now, as well as him being like really good. And he was always Ultramarines. So I'd bring like big lists, and he'd bring like 18 Eradicators, and would have a good time. And then I have my first ever tournament in Regina. It was just a small tournament, and I actually ended up winning the first tournament I went to.
Wow.
Kind of bounced all over the place.
Damn.
With everything, Regina's not the most competitive. There's a couple players that are really good.
Sure.
But it's always played melee. Throughout a lot of the ninth, I got into like Harlequins when they were good. I know, my bad. Dark Harlequins. Just because I like how the melee faction played. And I actually ended up playing Aussie at top table in the Classic 2 years ago.
Nice.
Came third at like Goonhammer. And then transitioned to the World Leaders when they came out, because I love the game style, love melee, love aggressive play. And to be completely frank, there were a couple people in Regina at the time that were like really nice guys, but like I didn't like being at their houses that much. So I really wanted to get into it. I really wanted to.
Was it like smelly or something?
Yeah,
it
was.
What? Wargamer smelly?
So,
never.
So
smelly is just the PG version.
It's just
you
mean a little nurgly.
Yeah. And actually, some of them did play Death Guard.
Whoa.
So
whoa.
Nothing wrong with
Shots fired.
They're actually my worst matchup, so I don't like them that much.
That's right.
But so when somebody told me that I could get an army where I could finish a game in like 45 minutes to an hour, I was like, this looks awesome. And then I got into it. So I was World Leaders, and then played them for a little bit last year, and then I just completely fell out of love with the game. Got into like a relationship, got into partying, university.
Disaster.
I know. Relationships. Ruin Warhammer.
You're right. It's the worst.
What do you mean you want to paint models and not hang out with me?
Yeah, well, the thing is, okay, my buddy Morgan paints all my models anyway. So
Whoa, my goodness.
I'm not a hobbyist. I'm sorry.
Cheers to that.
I like a lot of like the competitive scene.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I love getting into it. But anyway, so 10th rolls around. Not at all invested in the game. I'm just doing a lot of other stuff. There was a small RTT in I think December.
Okay.
Where I came.
This is in Regina or here?
In Regina.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I played 2 games of 10th before that in December. And then I had a small RTT where I played Riley Tremblay in the final.
Oh, wow.
It was team. Yeah. Angron came back 3 times and I still didn't win, which was funny. I didn't really know how to play World Leaders much then. Right. And then, just kind of moved back home away from university, away from everything, and I was like, hey, the Warhammer community is great, it's something I've been a part of before, and all my friends are still back in Regina, so it's how do I still fill that social need that I have, and scratch kind of that competitive itch. And then that's when literally 2 weeks before the classic, I was I need a last minute ticket. So I was poking around everybody. There was a big list that Adrian had, and I didn't want to be on it, so I messaged David, and he knew somebody that was dropping out, so I just took their spot, and then got back into.
And then won it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think I had 1 practice game, 2 practice games within 2 weeks for the tournament, but apart from that, I hadn't played a single game since December.
That's crazy. That's nuts. Do you have some kind of strategic board game background? Why do you think you take to this so easy? Because you're obviously very good at the army you play, but also, even playing on a strong, S tier, A tier army, not everyone's going to just take down a tournament like that. Do you have some kind of background in that, or it just comes to you easy, or what's the...
I've always liked board games, competitively. I play a lot of chess online growing up. Apart from that, I like my trigonometry, I like my math, I like all my angles, and it's I just take my time during my turn. I didn't know what anything in 10th was trying to do to me, but fundamentally I knew how my army played, and because I'm quite literally the fastest army in the game, that kind of allowed me to, once I understand threat ranges and angles and what the opponent can do to me in the next turn, and then I can make enough mistakes with movement because I have such a long movement range that the first couple games were really forgiving, just because I forget to something dies it's not supposed to, I can immediately move something 17 inches in the next turn, and it can just sit where I need it to. It's not an army where Death Guard, where even if Death Guard were really good, if I was coming back into the tournament, you kind of have to pre-stage everything because of how slow the movement is.
Yeah, it's a room for a lot of error, and you can't really get it back.
Yeah. But it's fundamentally the way the army plays is everybody just respects it a lot. With the Alpha Strike, especially.
Okay, and I just want to stop you there. I mean, does everyone respect it?
They should.
you got a
respects
matchup.
me.
But what I'm saying is that you got a story of someone, you have a 19-inch story. I'll still line up my guys right here on the deployment zone, and you're just on them on turn 1. Does that happen?
It not as much anymore.
Not as much anymore.
In the first couple games of the Classic, there were a couple guys that just got if you don't meet the deployment condition, I don't bring any shooting units. I have 6 units in my army with Alpha Strike potential, and all of them can pick up a unit. Angron, without doing Alpha Strike, can move 22 inches before he charges, turn 1. So if you don't know how to deploy against World Leaders, you just immediately lose the game. And if you deploy far back like you need to, I can just stage, play the game, run primary. My second, my stratagem where I can just bleed on objectives, absolutely a lifesaver, because it allows me to just run the game the whole way through. I dictate everything that's happened, and there's been one game against Matt Sector's Tau, where it's I haven't felt like I've had control of the board state.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the most recent. Well, you went to one in Saskatoon recently, but maybe so not this past weekend. The weekend before, was a teams event.
It was
and player placed World Leaders versus Tau is probably your nightmare scenario. Has to be.
I have a picture of the board, and
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
laughing
gorgeous.
about it in the group chat.
Yeah.
All windows,
Yeah.
all the way through.
Right.
My teammates, I was like, I look at my team and I'm like, literally put me into whatever matchup you guys
Okay,
don't want.
sure.
And then they put me down first on the board with like the most open terrain, and I'm like, oh, you.
That's what you get.
And then I look down and it's like everything in his army can see everything in my army
Yep.
all the time.
Yep.
And I'm just like, there is literally like, if I looked at Matt and I was like, I'm 2-0 against you right now. If you can't win right now,
Right.
you will never beat
Yeah,
me.
this is your chance. This is it.
The
Yeah.
only thing I regret about the game, I should have deep struck Angron,
Yeah.
but that's the only thing I can think of. That
Right, and I guess that's a defensive trick too against a shooting army that can see everything. Right, just
Yeah.
deep strike it and just get
Yeah.
him in.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
It could have even been tough though, because he is playing Wonka, so he's got. If he wanted to screen you, he probably could have. Yeah, that's a
did.
tough one, right? Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
right.
And I know Max or Matt, and he plays against a lot of Grey Knights, so he knows how to screen.
Yes, he's
so
very- yeah.
chances of him screening you, and especially with Angron's base size, it's pretty easy. But you can probably find there's probably a hole somewhere on the
But
side where you can get in and like
Right.
just
It is probably better.
and don't
than-
fail a 9-inch charge.
Yeah, just don't fail.
Yeah.
Obviously,
That's the way to win.
It is probably better in retrospect, obviously, than having him run across the board and get shot like twice before he gets there, right? So
Or go first.
it is what it is. Player play strain changes the game a lot, obviously.
I
Yeah.
still kept it to, I think it was like somewhere between like a 13 and 15 point game.
Yep.
So like my team
Okay.
still won that matchup, which was nice.
Good.
But
Yeah, that was the weird one where you guys won 2 matchups but tied. Is that-
so we lost 2 matchups, but Adam got a good matchup
Right.
for his.
Yes.
So Adam like 20-0'd, and then
Yep.
Nate and I both lost
that
like
what it
close
was?
losses.
Okay.
And I think it was we were ahead by 4 points, so we tied. But
Yeah.
we still beat them in points, but it counts as a tie for
right,
WTC.
right.
So it was, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a
Well,
fun
so
tournament, yeah.
that tournament was Pariah Nexus, and then the Classic you won, and throughout January you're dominating with Leviathan. So how are you finding the changes with Pariah Nexus now that you have 2 tournaments down in your belt now for Pariah Nexus?
If you singles tournaments, 2 singles tournaments.
2 singles and 1 team.
2 single, 1 team, and then 1 doubles tournament.
Right. Yeah.
Attack on Cax.
The attack on
Ki-
Cax.
Kinda
Yeah.
counts.
My
Kinda
favorite
counts.
tournament.
But that was also in the.
It is the funnest tournament.
Actually, Cax.
Everyone's
It
just
is a
having
lot
a
of
good
fun.
time.
Oh, dude.
Well, my teammate kept like drinking, and I'm like, dude, put it down. I want to win. No way he ordered another one. He's firing Overwatch like every turn.
No.
And I'm like, and I look at him, I'm like, don't
Yes.
you dare fucking do it. And he looks at me, he's like, I'm doing it. And I'm like, oh my
He just
God.
stares at you with the dice, puts it down, like
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Doesn't break
it
eye
was
contact.
ridiculous.
Yeah, the staff here at Cax were very good that day about anytime they see an empty beer, like, hey, you want another one? You want another one? And I'm like, hell yeah,
Yeah,
dude. Let's keep
yeah.
it rolling.
It's just one of those days,
That's
yeah.
one of those days. But I think that was the very last local tournament for Leviathan. I think it was like that weekend the rules came out and that was it.
That's right. Yeah,
I think that was it.
That was it. And the cutoff was the week prior. So then that was the last time we were ever going to play Leviathan.
That was
and,
it. That was a good time.
So now with Pariah Nexus, and you, sorry, I'm talking more than my. Now with Pariah Nexus, how are you finding World Leaders? I could probably guess your answer, but let's hear for the viewers.
So in general, with the game state, all the deployments got closer, which feels really nice.
And that's Tipping Point and what's that one?
I don't know.
Search and Just Know.
The new,
I
well,
just-
Search and Destroy is still close, as it always has
it's
been.
Not Crucible. It's the other one. Starts with an S.
No idea.
I don't
Pitch
know.
Spell,
Anyways,
I
I
can't
should
remember.
know.
It's
but I
a
don't.
Dawn of War that has an 18-inch up
Yeah.
and then a 10-inch down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so with those, that obviously helps melee armies.
Yeah. Deployment's
Clearly.
closer. Heroic Intervention is down to 1 CP, which is just feels kind of gross in general.
Huge.
I know you really like that in Leviathan, the Heroic Intervention, because you had MOE or MOE.
Yep, yep.
You had him, and he gets a free Heroic, and that was
Yep.
like this weird threat that everyone had to kind of consider.
Yep. That was like the first like major like World Leaders list that like took it. I think in general like the Classic was the biggest tournament World Leaders have won so far since like 9th even.
Oh, wow. Really?
But in general, like it was different. I had the points for it, and when I started playing with it, it was really good. But now, because of the decrease in 8-bound points, I've been able to put the Berserker Glaive on him, so more damage. Upgraded one of my regular squad of 8-bound to an Exalted 8-bound. So
What
More
was-
feel no pains, more durability.
more, yeah. So one better feel no pain, better weapons.
Yeah.
They hit them one better if I use like the smaller anti-infantry, and they have the aura of no fallback, which is
Right.
like
Oh,
aside
it's
from
so good.
Angron coming back, is literally like the biggest win condition in my army.
Yeah.
And that was the only way that I could keep the game against Matt close was like just like staging like my 8-bound
Yep.
and just trying to like trigger leak the no fallback.
Yeah, tagging their breachers or whatever as best you can, right? Yeah, yeah.
But if you tag them, they're probably dead anyways. But
Well, you fight something, kill it,
And
and then pile
yeah.
into them, and then if they don't fall back, no shooting against you the whole round, right?
Yeah.
It's huge, very big. The only reason I know that is because in the worst Necron detachment, there is a enhancement that you can get that.
Yeah.
In Annihilation Legion. So I've used it in like Crusade and stuff like that.
oh, camera's just all messy. There you go, guys.
Hey, I'm back. And it's exactly like I said. That's exactly how I use it. I've used it a lot to good effect against guard as well.
Yeah.
Right, you charge your Scorpec Lord into whatever Rogaldorn or a tank or whatever, blow the tank up, and then consolidate into a little guard infantry unit. Ideally, too.
Yeah.
Because they both got to roll to get out of there. If one of them fails, you don't get to shoot me this whole round.
The best thing about Exalted having it is it's actually not even just for whatever's in combat with them. It's a 6-inch aura of all of your opponent's units
Oh, it
in that
is?
range. Yeah. So that's why if I have like 8-bound in combat and ground in combat, like Berserkers in combat,
I did not know
I can
that.
literally protect like I've protected like 1,000 points of my army before.
Incredible.
Like, and it's like it feels oppressive. Like when it happens, it just feels like unfair.
Yeah, it's an aura. I did not know that, and it's a battle shock check that they have to make.
It's just like a leadership.
It's a leadership.
test. So like battle shock modifiers don't, and you can't auto pass
Okay.
it. You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a random test that someone's telling you to do.
Yep.
So coming into Pariah Nexus and all the changes, what changed from your list previously from Leviathan, and what are you running now, and what did you like about that? Why don't you run through the whole list for everyone?
Yeah. So what I started with in the classic was I had Karn, Angron, Lord Invocatus, Master of Execution with the Battle Lust, which is the free heroic intervention. One squad of 10 Jackals. They just sticky objectives, like basic cultists. One squad of 10 Berserkers. There's some lists that are excluding Berserkers now and going pretty 8-bound heavy, which doesn't make sense. Because the 10 brick of Berserkers with either Karn or the Master of Execution actually puts out a lot more damage than Angron.
Wow.
Like it gets I have a +1 to wound stratagem,
Right.
and just like the volume with sustained, lethal, so on and so forth. Aside from the 10, I have another squad of 5. That way I have flexibility to be able to pair either squad with either of the 2 characters that could lead them, depending on the matchup.
Right.
So if I need more volume, I'll put them with Karn because he gives hit and wound rerolls of 1. But if it's a melee matchup, I'll put them with the Master of Execution because he fights first, and I'll just try and cushion the fights first as much as possible. And it just makes a bigger blob for like further heroic interventions with a fight first, which is just like,
that's juicy. Oh,
so
that's
so good.
Yeah.
Then I only have one rhino between 2 of them, so one of them will start on the board. Usually the 5 with whoever, but that's just another target for Invocatus to maybe like push something forward, because people think it's going to be 8-bound, so you put something in the middle. And either Invocatus or like the small squad of 5 Berserkers with a character goes for it. Now you can't really move anything onto the middle unless you're going to overkill it, because if you half kill that squad and have something to take the primary from me, because I can bleed on it, so you want to stand on it, they can blood surge into you. So it's just layers of like grossness.
Yep.
And then as far as like the rest of the list, it's just one squad of 2 spawn.
Yep.
Super good. They 5-up feel no pain down to a 4-up feel no pain.
Dude, they're so good. They are ridiculous. Did you see the recent, I think it was an Art of War video? They did the best, I think, non-character units in the
Best
game.
10 data sheets.
Best 10 data sheets, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Number 1 was World Eaters Chaos Spawn.
They're so good.
They're for their points, they're what, 60, 65?
Oh, wow.
For 2 4 wound bodies.
Yep.
And they heal themselves.
When they heal themselves, they get a 4-up feel of pain a lot of the time, most of the time, all the time almost.
And they can actually pick up like small marine squads.
And they hit 100%. They sure can hit, especially on the charge, right? They get all the good rolls and you're good to go.
D6 plus 2 attacks, plus 3 on the charge.
Crazy.
Each. Strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage each.
Perfect.
Wow.
That's exactly what
And
you
it's
want.
just like,
That's awesome.
And yeah, if you don't, because you can't bring models back with their heal, but they will heal, right? In both command phases,
yeah.
right?
And like, to be honest, it doesn't really matter if they die, because I have a stratum, they just bleed on something. So if I'll literally throw them out in the open.
And for those who aren't, you keep referring to it. For those who aren't familiar, what is bleed on something? Because it sounds weird, but
I bleed on everything.
that's true. That's
In
true.
real life.
The nails are biting.
So I have a stratagem. So for 1 CP, if you shoot me off a primary and I own it, it's now stickied and it's mine.
Is it just shooting?
No, you can kill me up primary.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But-
So if they just die on it and it's yours, but if they're in melee, they probably already control it. then
But
after.
I fight on death. So if it's my turn and you kill
spicy.
me and fight
Fair.
on death and we both die at the same time, I can still stick you.
you can stick you. So yeah, if you kill a World Leaders unit on an objective, you can spend a CP and stick you.
Which
is
like
perfect.
automatically forces like primary interaction because it's like
Yeah.
you can't sit back and shoot me off everything. You have to come up and play the game at some
Yep.
point. And I think that's why the win rate's not crazy. Is because like our points are like they're pretty good. We can move really far. Our data sheets, we have unbelievable data sheets in the army. But it's like people get greedy. Like just because you charge across the board doesn't mean you have to. People are playing with the same secondaries as you. They have to play the game at some point. So those units are going to become available. Anybody with like that's competent playing the world leaders isn't going to give you something on the deployment. So why are you like relying on this big alpha strike when they're deploying like I don't know like 30 plus inches away from you, and you can just literally run the board.
And then you're hoping for a 10-inch charge, right? And why are you putting yourself in a situation,
I
right?
don't roll higher than 6.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. I think six.
ever.
I think 6 is the number you always. Okay, if I'm not going to make it, then I'm going to hang out, right?
Yeah,
and I'll do an action or whatever.
Yeah.
And now in Pariah Nexus, there's so many more actions you can do, right? Like, okay, fine. Then I guess I just got sabotage. I'll just hang out over here, and I won't do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you can come to me.
Yeah, you're staging.
I
right?
do want to kind of point out too something that, with that 5 Berserker squad. I think some of the tech that people do against World Leader players is infiltrators, and having infiltrators kind of lined up against you to stop your threat ranges. Having that 5 Berserker squad that can actually output a decent amount of damage gets rid of those, and then you get to keep the. You get to keep the area denial, right? And or the extended battle lines if you do draw at turn 1. And it's at that small little trade that like, okay, fine, I'll throw this one little thing here, and then okay, it dies, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you can kind of compete at that first turn there again, and not really give too much.
Yeah, like usually, actually, it's not even the Berserker squad that does that. Invocatus himself.
Yeah, just runs up.
Will
Yeah.
walk up, and
sure.
he can pick up a squad of 5 scouts. Like it's literally nothing.
Because Invocatus gives out scout to 2 units
And himself.
and himself.
And he moves 12 inches base.
Because he has scout built into himself and gives out 2, right?
Yeah.
If you were to join him to a unit, he'd have to give it to that unit, right, to scout. But you effectively get 3 scouts out of him.
Yeah.
100%. And he hits like a truck. And he's got his like Juggernaut that also hits pretty good.
He's got
Like,
dev wounds, too,
Seems like kind of a
it's got
weird
dev
like
wounds built in.
It seems like kind of a weird bait and switch too, because you move up with load avocados or attack that. So like, okay, I don't want to do the infiltrator because now you just get attack load avocados and just kill them anyways.
Now I will get into your army if I can. Yeah.
Right? But then if I don't do it, then you just do your thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like this weird thing like, well, I want to mess with you, but I can't. Right? And it's like it's still your choice. So it's like you're left with like these 2 choices and both are bad.
That's how you want to play Warhammer, is give your opponent 2 bad choices.
Totally.
And then you pick one of them, and all right, sweet.
And World Leaders gives it turn 1.
That's how we're playing it.
Go. Oh, we roll dice. You're
That's pretty
first.
sick.
Well, what do you want to do, man?
So you got a little bit of points changes in the recent data slate.
Yeah.
Like Cass was saying, as far as like the changes to like the missions and stuff, how do you think World Eaters play into that? Is it a big change? Is it kind of the same feel?
It doesn't feel as high scoring just because
Sure.
like the points are literally less than the cards.
Yep.
We have so much movement anyway. I'll just finish off the list.
Sorry.
So that's okay.
Go ahead.
In the classic, there was 3 squads of regular 8-bound and 2 squads of exalted, and then all that changed in Nexus was I moved up I basically promoted one of the 8-bound squads, so I have 3 squads of 3 exalted now, and then like Master of Execution just hits harder with more damage.
Right.
But as far as like the missions, like we just have so much movement that it's like we're not like we are, but people label us like a super killy melee army. We're such a good like point scoring army. Like one 8-bound can like pick up like a min-sized unit squad.
Sure.
You think you're better than Grey Knights at scoring?
You think you're better than me?
We're not as
I'm not a Grey Knight player.
it's tough because we're not as fast as Grey Knights.
Of course.
And I'll let you know on after Sunday because David's actually coming over because we've been talking about a matchup for a while and
Sure.
we're playing that game.
And he knows World Leaders too, so you won't have to explain any rules.
Yeah, there you go. So I can't even lie about the throw.
There's no tricksies.
There's 9-inch movement on the data sheet.
He'll know. Well,
It's like you're doing that wrong.
Grey Knight,
shit.
because it seems like, and that's probably a good faction for you to practice into, because I would imagine Grey Knights pose a very specific problem for you, right? They can deploy on their back line, so you never get anything turn 1, which is not the end of the world, like you said. You're just staging and for future turns, not the end of the world. But they can then just be you wherever.
Yeah.
Right?
The thing about the Grey Knight matchup is they have a stratagem where if I'm within like 9 inches of them, they can just pick up.
Gonzo.
And another thing is because I like to dictate how the whole game goes, them being able to teleport behind me and kill stage units
Right.
as I start running out of units is a big problem.
Sure.
Like if I'm not deciding where units go and saying, oh, they're probably going to die, but they're going to do this and this first, and that's what I need to win the game. If I can't make that decision, like for every unit, it's like scary because like I know how to screen out Grey Knights, but like if he can kill enough, I just won't have enough tools to do it, and then 8-bound start dying in cover.
That's right.
And then that's scary. As far as like scoring against Grey Knights would go, their units are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So I have more units than them, especially because I do the MSU, but they can just like teleport everywhere. So I think it's fairly even in a good matchup because like I can move half the board in one turn, but he can move like behind enemy lines, like, whatever he wants without interacting with me. Just go like and not have to charge.
And I think
something.
Angron in himself is just a really scary threat for him to deal with because I don't think what's Angron's toughness 11?
Toughness 11. Yeah.
Yeah, so T11. So that's a terrible stat line for Grey Knights.
Yeah.
They can't really hurt a lot on T11, like especially like all their guns, and then even in the melee armor, like their best attack is actually charging with a Nemesis Dread Knight on a strength 14 sword, or hammer. Sorry.
No, that's fair.
But that's their best attack against it. So having a T11 body is just really annoying for them.
I think as a great,
and also, I mean, he comes back, so it's,
he just comes back. Obviously,
he's
every
just
time.
awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a super cool matchup. I think as a Grey Knight player, you probably just do your best to ignore Angron, go fight everything else, because okay, best case scenario, you're getting a Dread Knight with the hammer and charge on Angron. You might kill him, but you will for sure die in return.
I like that.
So it's like,
that makes
don't even
sense.
bother. Go kill 8-bound, go kill Rhinos, go kill Berserkers, whatever.
Just kill their point scorers, right? And then if you start limiting the amount of units that you have,
that's what I would
then
think.
you can't score any points.
That's
And
what I
then
would
sure you
think.
can kill some stuff, but
Yeah, exactly.
Just
so that would
ignore-
be
just
that'd be the only way I think.
ignore
yeah.
Angron. He'll get super pissed off, and then that's fine.
Can Angron, like, is there any other neat tricks? Like, can you consolidate 6 inches or something with him? No. Okay.
Nope. He just has his aura really supports the army when he gives off reroll hits, like all hits within 6 inches. He can give a +1 to charge within 6 inches.
Oh, that's good.
Instead, which is pretty nice. Coming out of deep strike, he can make it an 8. Or he has one more where if something's like wounded near him, they get like +1 attack.
+1 attack.
Which is like
It's a weird.
Yeah,
I've never
it's
taken
funny
that.
with all
It's
those
a weird
Primarchs and like choosing their auras. Like, there's always just 2 that you gotta flip between. Like, the other one's just stupid.
Yeah.
Or like with Mentarian, it's rerolling wound rolls a 1, or extending auras or your contagion.
Right.
But no, and then there's one for cover.
Right, which is the one you never use. Because everything gets cover anyway, most of the time.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I was going to ask, because you said you've had a fair amount of practice with World Leaders, lots of tournament experience so far, and in both singles and team play.
Yeah.
How do you find them are they better in a singles environment? Are they better in a team environment? I know there's some factions that are distinctly better in teams. World Leaders smacks me as one that is probably fine in both. Or what's your experience so far?
It used to be kind of like just like a solid teams army, like especially back in 9th.
Okay.
So basically, the way World Leaders worked in 9th is the Alpha Strike was like we didn't have advance to charge, but the pregame moves were further. So the Alpha Strike was kind of like the same range, but by and large throughout the game you couldn't move as far. So it was a good like kind of like a stat check team army for like fighting in the middle, staging, so on and so forth. You had like an automatic fight on death, so it was really good into melee matchups.
Right.
But now like with the additional movement, obviously it does really well in singles. In teams, it's not really like much of a difference. Like there's not a whole time that
Like your team list would be the same as your
it's
singles
exactly
list.
the same.
Yeah,
The team list would be the same. I guess you don't have a lot of bad matchups, right?
Well, especially now that like Nexus rolled around, like the biggest thing was like probably Bully Boys, to be honest. Like when
interesting.
Bully Boy, like because I couldn't really pick up their units, and I'd almost have to play a game against the Bully Boys guy like running the army, and try and like either like because he has to declare war. Or I have to like choose my roles.
Sure.
We'd have to roll off see who did first. I'd have to make him think I was trying to get into his army, and then immediately get him to declare war to just make it like 1 for the rest of the game for me to be able to like survive anything or kill anything later.
That makes perfect sense.
So you almost have to play like a mental game of like I need you to do this now, or I'm gonna like the turns where I need to be into you. I just literally can't do anything.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like trying to get into him turns 2, 3. You want it like right off the bat and like get it done with.
Yeah, I want him to declare war. Like turn
get it out of the way.
That's what I wanted, and then I could chill out and I could play my game.
Yep.
Right.
That's smart. And then the other one that kind of pops to mind along the same lines of like a troublesome melee army would be Custodes. How have you found that matchup? Especially after they lost all access to fight first, which was probably the decision maker in a lot of World Leaders games, had to be. Now that they have no fights first, None of it. One detachment has a strat.
I'm not sure.
Mostly, I think it's mostly.
I think
gone.
Shield Host has it.
Maybe there's one in there. But how have you found that post?
To be honest, I've only had one Custodes game in all of 10th.
Okay.
And that was in that RTT back in December.
Okay.
Where they were good. But the gentleman I was playing was he played more 10th, but he was newer to the game than I was.
Gotcha.
So I was kind of like, oh, you need to stand on an objective to be able to fight first. You can't fit your whole army on an objective on deployment.
That's right.
so it's just turn one like, and it was fine. Like it was a fine game.
Okay.
Now I don't know. It's not an army I'm really worried about, just because they don't have like the fast movement that like if he spikes on 4-ups, like it could suck. Lethals obviously suck into Angron, like the 5-up lethals.
Yeah.
But like I can just outmove them, so I'm not really
that's fair.
concerned about Custodes. Somebody feel free to prove me wrong.
I mean, I think that definitely is one of the tough matchups. I think Custodes are kind of in a weird spot right now where they got their codex. It was kind of dog, so everybody was like, abandon ship, run away.
Yeah.
The most recent changes they got to Shield Host super helped them. It was kind of a very minor change, but they're like, hey, do you want all of your katas the whole game? Go for it, right? Like they're way better now, right? So,
and they can do feel no pains now on devs.
That's a good point. Yeah,
right?
I don't know which detachment that's in, but dev wounds are now mortals again, so their mortal wound protection actually works properly.
Yeah, which is pretty huge, right?
Huge. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and I think a lot of their points went down as well when it came to when Pariah Nexus came out.
I don't remember, but interesting. Okay, so and also I think we did mention it briefly, but at the Alberta Classic, which for those who don't know was probably the biggest singles tournament that we'll see in Alberta.
Yeah.
The tournament season is kind of wrapping up, coming to a close kind of this time of year. Definitely the biggest singles tournament that we'll see in Alberta, and you managed to take first place, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that's where you smashed Cass, right?
I wouldn't say smash, but it was a good game.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play anymore. My brain was already sore after that game.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the game 1 of Sunday? Fuck.
Oh, is that what it was?
Because I played
Yeah.
Death Guard, like, I think the night before. Like, it was my last game, like, the night before. And I was just like, I hate this. Because I'm hitting off, like, 4s all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you have access to -1 damage, and it's just like, it's just such a sloggy game.
Okay.
But
you managed to take it down, took first place, and won yourself a golden ticket.
Yep.
And for those who are not familiar with that means you get entry into the World Championships of Warhammer. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
In Atlanta in November, you said?
November, yep.
Fantastic. It's like the big leagues. You go play in the big leagues. Are you excited for that? Like, what's the vibe on that?
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be the biggest tournament I've ever been to. It's, I've been talking to Team Canada already, and we've already ordered like Team Canada jerseys. Which is really cool.
No kidding.
And it's just kind of a cool opportunity because the purpose of the tournament is to figure out like what country is the best at Warhammer. So it'll be nice to go and play where like everybody feels like kind of like a final boss.
Right.
And it'll be.
So are you on Team Canada then, or
not like the travel Team Canada, but I'm traveling down with Canada representing Alberta. For
Yeah.
That's
Good.
very cool.
Good. You should. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to WTC,
Congrats,
but
yeah.
That's actually, I didn't know that at all. That's super
wicked.
sick.
Yeah.
Me and Cass have been lurking in the Team Canada Discord for a while, ever since we had Adam on, and he hooked us up, let us know that was going down.
Yeah.
I've jumped into a couple of their scrims and got my butt thoroughly whooped every time, and I'm like, yep, that's a live and learn type thing.
Fair, yeah.
That's how you do it. That's exciting. That's very cool.
Yeah, like I was reading some things about it, and apparently, like you go in and like all the countries' flags are like on the wall, and it's just like it's just a cool opportunity, like I
100%.
feel like I'd be kind of silly to not do it.
Yeah, like you'll make it work, like whatever it is, make it work.
And especially like coming from like the den and stuff like that, I feel like it's a good opportunity to kind of represent like the prairies Warhammer, because I feel like we're pretty underrepresented in general, and like when people think of Canada, they think about like Team Canada is basically like a friend group out in like Ottawa.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's like the Sask Vipers sent out like a team of 8 to go and play at like their recent tournament to go show them like how good the prairies were at Warhammer.
Right.
And then they got like destroyed. So I'm like,
Damn it.
So now there's a team tournament in like Saskatoon coming up.
Okay.
When's that?
I think it's October 10th. No, that's in Edmonton. It'll be it is in October. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometime in October.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to be on the team with David, Adam, and like somebody else.
Is it a 8-man team or is it
4-man?
4-man.
And there's
okay.
golden tickets available, and Team
damn.
Canada is basically coming over with a few of their players. So I think it's, I think Chris Haynes, Riley Tremblay, and I don't know.
Bunch of big dogs.
One of the other players, and they're trying to get like Garrett Olson a ticket.
Gotcha.
And they're coming over here. So we basically want to put together a team that not only can get tickets for the boys, but that can show like the Team Canada guys coming over, like, hey,
that we're no joke.
that we're not.
So if it's a golden ticket, does every team member get one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh shoot,
That's pretty cool.
That's actually kind of juicy.
Yeah, that's good.
Take four guys in, get 4 tickets. Not a bad deal. When we were talking with Adam when he was on, he kind of what you mentioned about the. By no fault of Team Canada, no slight to them. For a while, it has been kind of like, yeah, the Ontario crew was just Team Canada,
Just East, yeah.
right? Which is, I mean, for those familiar with Canada, that's kind of how everything works in Canada, right? Ontario's got the most people, they got the most lottery winners, they got the most seats in government. That's kind of how things work generally.
Yeah.
But it's a good point. It's like, I think, and even Adam mentioned this, that they've kind of opened it up quite a bit, Team Canada, because now they have, I think, a couple guys from BC. Obviously, Adam's here in Alberta.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys from like East Coast and stuff like that. So they've done a lot to, I guess, remedy that problem if it was a problem.
Yeah.
If you want the best in Canada, right? If you're going to be Team Canada, it shouldn't be Team Ontario, hopefully.
Yeah.
No slight to Ontario boys. I'm sure they're fantastic. I'm sure they're good. But like players like yourself, right, is a very good example, right? You're crushing the local meta. You should probably be on Team Canada's radar, I would hope.
We'll see.
We'll see. One day.
Realistically, like, even if I got the offer, like, I'm gonna be too busy with work coming up
That's
to be able
fair.
to do anything.
That's
'cause
fair.
I'm getting into real estate with my parents, so I'll be running around like crazy anyway. But yeah, it would be a cool offer anyway.
It's a bit. Well, it is a big commitment. You're right. It's, you got to be kind of set up. Like, job has to line up properly. Personal life has to line up properly. It's a big commitment, especially if you're gonna like plan to go to like WTC or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, man, you never know. One day, someday.
We'll see.
Well, and I find that just out here west, we are extremely competitive, and I think there is a lot of good players that just haven't had that opportunity, and then just being able to do this is nuts. Like the players here are crazy.
Yeah, we've got a pretty. You mentioned the like Saskatchewan meta. How does I'll put you on the spot right now?
Sask.
How does the Sask meta stack up
you
against the
just-
Alberta meta?
Yeah.
Put you on the spot. Tell us who's better.
Well,
right
technically,
now.
I'm from the Sask meta, and I won the classic. So
Well.
Sask is better.
Hey, man, it's hard to argue with results, I guess.
The average here is better. Like the average player here is significantly better than the average player there.
Sure. Okay.
But there are a few like really good players.
That's a very diplomatic answer. I appreciate that.
Yeah. There's obviously like there's good players, but like guys over there, like there's like Riley Tremblay, like guys on my team, like Morgan's won a few tournaments. I played him in like the top table.
Even
like,
Adam is from Saskatchewan as well, right?
No.
Is he
I don't
not?
think so.
Adam Green?
I think Adam's from
Is
from
he,
around
is he
here.
from right here?
Yeah.
Well, that shows you what I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just played 8th and 7th and just crushing it, and then he
Just
just started
crushing
doing
it, right.
tournaments, and then he started doing well. I don't know.
He
He was on here. I probably should rewatch that podcast.
yeah, I was
if you
gonna
guys want
say.
to know where he's from, and maybe you can leave in the comments. And we don't know. Why don't you watch the podcast?
I'm pretty sure I was there, but as soon as the podcast cuts, it's
Yeah.
all gone.
Excuse me? No.
Sorry, who are you again? Speaking of, like we brought it up briefly. Speaking of WTC,
Yeah.
I wanted to get your thoughts on a list.
Okay.
I mentioned it before we started rolling.
So this is a WTC teams list.
This is correct. It's a
To confirm.
WTC
Okay.
teams list.
And you're kind of saying that teams and singles can pretty much be the same list. So let's see where we're going. here.
But some teams lists cannot be singles lists because
Well,
you can
that is
dictate
true.
matchups.
That is 100% true.
Well,
And
yes.
it is an 8-man's team format, so you have a fair amount of control over
Yeah.
who you're going into and stuff like that. But I think you'll find this list possibly interesting, even given that
Okay.
kind of caveat, right?
Okay.
All right, this is, I don't know, have you looked at any WTC lists, Saul?
No.
Okay, good. I'm glad this will be a surprise then. So this is on Team Australia.
Oh, this is the blog for the Blood God guy that I did an interview with.
Is it? What's his name?
Uh,
Maybe? I don't know. I'll tell you this.
He's a YouTube podcaster.
he's
So it's okay if
he's
I
the
shout his
captain
name
of,
out
like,
then.
Team Australia. Yeah.
Dean
Yeah.
Sinbeck?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Have you heard what his list
interviewed
is?
me. No, but
Okay,
it's
it's juicy.
probably Terminators.
You're on the right track. So we'll go. Even when I mentioned it before we started rolling, I was like, "It's a pretty cool list. I want to get your thoughts on it." And you said it better not be 30 Terminators. hold on to your horses.
Okay.
All right, so characters.
Hold on to your
We're gonna start at the top of the
Horses are
list.
held.
We're gonna start at the top of the list. First off, no Angron. Great. Down the
hate
list
it.
we go. He hates it right immediately. Karn the Betrayer.
Okay.
2 units of 10 Jackals. Sorry, 3 units of Jackals.
Whoa.
Keep scrolling.
Is
here.
Karn the only character in there?
Karn is the only character.
There's no
in here.
Master of
There is
Execution?
literally Karn the Betrayer as the characters. That's it. We've got 3 units of Jackals. We've got, this looks like a unit of, I'm trying to see how many Berserkers here. So 1 unit of 10, 1 unit of 5. We got 1 Rhino. We got a unit of 3 8-bound, another unit of 3 8-bound, and then to round out the list, we have 3 units of 10 Terminators. That is it, boys and girls. Okay, get your thoughts on that.
I mean,
Let's go.
I think Dean's a smart dude.
Sure.
So there's
So,
probably
so when you drag him right now,
there's-
you got the up front grab.
Soften the blow.
there's probably some kind of matchup that they're gearing for there. I don't have enough foresight into the meta to know what they could possibly hoping to put that into. Maybe Thousand Suns. That could be maybe the Thousand Suns counter matchup.
Sure.
But like apart from that, like that list would get like basically shit on in singles.
Wow.
Like there's just there's it can't move that fast. Well, it can move like fast than other Terminators, but you don't really have your speed.
Nope.
You don't have the threat of Angron.
Nope.
And it's just like you're buying into tanky units, and other factions do tanky better. So I don't know why you're playing basically the fastest faction in the game and bringing like big, slow, tanky bricks. Like, it doesn't make sense because that exists better in other armies, even like Death Guard. Like,
Yeah,
I think
they're already way more tanky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you brought like
And you're trying to play their game.
If you bought 3 squads of like 6 Death Shroud or however many you could, like you would literally just like crush that one.
Well, yeah, it's funny. David was like, "Hey, Cass, how much Death Shroud? You should run 3." I'm like, "I only own 6." That's why I only run 6.
Yeah, that's
I only own the 2
They're
3s.
good. They're
3D
good.
printer goes brrr.
Yeah, I think those ones, that 3D printer, I don't know.
You don't like them.
The chaos, I don't know.
Well,
The
yeah,
chaos
I'm sure.
models.
I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah.
Here, counterpoint to Terminators being slow, if I may play devil's advocate for a player who's way better than me, so it doesn't need it, obviously.
Okay.
They do have deep strike, so you kind of put them where you want them, right? They're slow, but just put 2 units in reserve.
I don't
if that's
think you
allowed.
put a unit of 10 Terminators where you want against good players.
That's a fair say.
It's a big footprint,
It's a huge footprint.
very big
It's a huge
right?
footprint. No,
I mean, you can put them in a
character,
line, but like, why?
And the thing that hurts, there's no spawn in the list.
There's no spawn. What I read to you is what they have. There's no spawn on the list.
Yeah. I just it does definitely.
What are
doesn't-
what's their ability? Is there anything
Yeah, I
cool
was
that they
just looking
do?
at it. Do you
Like,
know?
I know that they're tanky unit, but like, do
Terminators,
they?
if something's wounded, they get like +1 to hit, and if it's like below half, I think they get
+1 to wound.
+1 to win.
Correct.
And then they have shooting.
They have some shooting.
Average shooting.
Yep.
Like, it's just combi bolters?
It's like Terminator shooting. They can take a flamer. They got one Reaper autocannon in there or something like that. But yeah, it's a little bit of shooting.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't, like, for me, like, World Leaders have so many good tools. Like Master of Execution with Fights First. The Spawn really rated as like the best unit like in the game.
Yep.
Angron is a monster. It doesn't have any Exalted 8-bound.
I think there might have been 1.
Oh, there was just
No,
3
no,
8-bound.
there was 2 units of 3 8-bound, no exalted at all.
Yeah, so you're not leaning into the like the no fallback at all. It's basically like people. I guess I'm kind of guilty of this as well, but people complain about having such a small codex, and then they use half of it at most anyway.
Yeah, right.
So it's just like it's not really any World Eaters flavor. Like you're playing Terminator spam, like go play like Dark Angels or something. It's just like it's not leaning into what World Eaters amplify and what World Eaters are good at. It just seems to be doing things that other armies are doing, but like not as good.
Right.
However, in the WTC format, like let me stress, like WTC lists are not singles lists. And,
Very true.
And
Yep.
they're going to try and put that into something that can probably crush.
Of course.
And that can probably really, really stat check somebody because they are the fast Terminators in the game.
Who are they stat checking? Who is the good matchup for this Terminator blob?
Literally just with like the 2-up armor save. Like all I can think about is like
anything that doesn't have big
maybe
AP.
like Thousand Suns. But even Thousand Suns are just like running away from you because of how fast they are.
Yeah, because you're just trying to stop the flamers. Is this what you're basically trying to do? Hey?
Honestly, I don't have that. Maybe I'm not smart.
I'm trying to think what the.
But I think you just do that anyways as MSU. Like you make them have one target in their Overwatch and you charge with the other.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
you're
not
already
really
doing
worried
that.
about Thousand Suns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, either you are completely wrong. Maybe the whole world
I
is
could be.
wrong.
Maybe I'm missing something.
And Dean is ahead of the curve. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Well, it is nice seeing like variety in the list.
Yeah,
I
sure.
guess. because like factions aren't fun when everybody's bringing the same stuff all the time.
Of course.
And you see like the world leaders matchup, and they're gonna bring this, and this. It's like we're a faction where, because of like the difference between units, small changes in the list can make like
a huge difference,
a big difference in how like the list plays.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know what he's trying to do with it, but
well, we'll see. WTC is in late August, I want to say. It's a few weeks away now, so keep an eye on Team Australia because he's running a wild list.
Okay. Hopefully it's streamed. I want to see what he's trying to do.
I think there will be some.
Yeah, I think it is. I think War Game Lives. I think
War Games Live will go for sure because he was there last year.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that the like YouTube online streaming of games has only gotten way better over the past year or so.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see a few games for sure.
Well, what do you think about ever adding Chaos Knights into a World Leaders list? Is that something?
I've seen it.
Like carnivores?
I've seen brigands. I've seen brigands.
Possible, especially with like battle line changes.
Mm-hmm.
Either you kind of lean into like having multiple brigands for shooting, or you just have like one, like probably carnivore to support the list. Just because you can put them in strat reserves and bring them in like on that.
Rapid Ingress?
No, it's the specific mission now.
Oh yeah, where you can bring in a battle line unit.
Yeah,
on turn
and it's
one.
just like good OC, like decent support for the army.
Super good.
It's just not how I play them. Like not Forge Fiends, Mauler Fiends are like really like quite point efficient, but they can't stage in terrain, and I hate moving clunky vehicles. It just doesn't play how I want to, and the more points that I spend on units that can't play the staging, long movement, kill you off of everything game, the less threat saturation I have, so the less threatening my army gets, like by a lot.
Right.
So I could cut out like a couple squad of 8-bound, fine, and put in like 2 Forge Fiends. Literally, what do I get from that? It just means you got to clear out less melee, and then you're safe.
Yeah, the only good argument I've heard for maybe Forge Fiends, but I've heard it more for brigands, War Dog brigands, is because the say average World Leaders list has no shooting. People can deploy and move as if you have no shooting, right? Whereas if you have a shooting threat of some kind, they kind of they can't just like stand out in the open and like move freely, right? You kind of have a threat at least to be like, okay, if you don't go behind cover, I'm gonna blast you a little bit at least.
In general, like with World Leaders, I don't think people are really taking like liberties on deployment anyway. So it's not really like you with especially
it's an advantage, but a small advantage, negligible, right?
Yeah. Hey,
sure.
Karn is a plasma pistol, so
you
better stay in that.
And it doesn't even get hot. He just freaking always overcharges it.
I don't think I've ever actually shot it like once, literally ever. I fire the Rhino occasionally if we're playing and I'm shooting my Rhino. You're doing something right.
Right. It's desperation.
I just like completely forget to do like all of that stuff all the time. So
or even heal the Rhino. How many times we forgot that?
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah, I always forget healing the Rhinos. That's like the most unspoken rule that everyone always forgets.
It's just your Rhinos for
Rhinos
1 point.
heal, man. They heal 1 wound at every command phase.
The one thing I forget quite often, which I shouldn't because it's actually like kind of a difference in the game, is if Karn's not in combat at the end of the charge phase. You have to roll Battle Shock, and if you fail, he just like murders one of the dudes with him.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's why you put him in a Rhino, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, he just turns sideways, and he's like, "Fuck you."
He just executes a dude.
Yeah.
We didn't charge this turn. Fuck you, guy.
I
so cool.
I forget to do that quite a bit. But at the end of the day,
course.
like they're cushioned for him anyway because Karn's such a beast stick. The squad with him literally isn't doing anything.
I've seen a lot of lists, maybe not super recently, but maybe before Data Slate, before Pariah, people running Karn solo.
I've done that.
Stupid, cool idea, maybe sometimes helpful.
Indirect fire doesn't really exist anymore. Why wouldn't you do that? It's none of the indirect stuff's good. And like moving up by himself, like he has 9 attacks, like strength.
Yeah. Go be a character hunter.
Strength enough. At like 3 damage each, AP2. So he can kind of do whatever he wants. But he has like good fight on death and like a good cushion. So I kind of like protect him, especially like using the movement of the Blood Surge to be able to kind of like move him around and take advantage of his really good data sheet.
Right. Okay.
It just kind of gives him more like mobility in the list rather than just like go deal with this and then you're done.
Yeah. Because his berserkers are ablative wounds, I guess, in a certain sense, but also like you said with the Blood Surge, a little bit extra movement, a little bit play on that.
And like even Karn, like with +1 to wound is like
that's
literally
awesome.
picking up like plague burst. it's silly.
So
like,
crazy.
It's so good, and especially if you have the 5 of them as well. Like it's just reassures you.
Yeah.
Weight of dice too, but still decent damage.
Yeah.
Now, what do you feel about? I just want to pick your brain on. Just give me here. Secret missions.
Ooh.
Now, is there a world you're using them? Are you doing it at all? Are you kind of playing defense against them? Like, what's going on? Because they are good.
Yeah. The thing is with World Eaters, I play the primary denial game hard all the time. So secret missions are actually a tool used against me literally all the time. Because
Which ones?
Thank you so much.
Which ones?
Usually, I think Adam tried to use one in our game in Saskatoon. He actually ended up using the wrong one because if he took the one where he killed everything, I think he would have scored the secret mission. But like the one where like standing on objectives or having like your warlord or whatever like in my like deployment zone.
You need them on your home objective, the warlord, right?
Yeah.
And then there's one with the 3 in the center and then battle line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like teleporty armies, like but the thing is like I get so far ahead on primary anyway because I can bleed on it, and if you're on any primary in the mid board, you're literally within range of my entire army. So it's like hardcore primary denial is like how I play World Eaters, and that's why I've been having success with them. So when people have a tool to say, "Oh shit, I'm behind on primary, let me try this big secret mission, it's just an extra thing for me to think about playing into opponents. I don't see a world where I really have to use one. I hope I do at some point because that'll be kind of cool.
We'll just have Agron just on the home
say,
objective.
I could see a world where you're behind on primary, the end of 3, right? You take the warlord needs to end on their deployment
and just
you
hope
deep
I get
strike.
Agron back.
Get Agron back.
Yeah.
It's a Hail Mary maneuver, obviously, but
it could work.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
And especially with the killiness of world leaders, like they could have less units where they can't screen you as well, and then you just deep strike Angron right on there.
And there
Boom,
is a secret mission where you basically table your opponent. So I mean, world leaders love that, right? If you find yourself like you said, maybe not plays super well into your play style, but if you find yourself behind at the end of 3 and you're like, okay, I'm not going to get a bunch of primary after this, or I'm only going to get max of 20 going forward, right? Yeah, you just try to table your opponent. You're like, screw the objectives. I'm going to just blow you up.
I think the 3 objectives one in the middle is probably the best one just because then you have to focus on tabling you.
Yeah.
That's the only, if you're going to do it, you have to table you because then you can be there because like you said, everything's in that threat range, but that would be the most optimal one. Maybe the Warlord one, maybe for Thousand Suns, just because you can run Magnus right across there.
Yeah, or Grey Knights.
It's so situational.
Or Grey Knights, yeah. I think those 2 are the kind of the ones, and then that's when you go with the Warlord one, and then... What are your battle line units?
Jackals and Berserkers. Jackals are chilling on the home objective like the whole game. So
yeah, that's not a good one then. Because Grey Knights have a million battle line units, right? So they can maybe go that direction, but I don't think that's the best move.
Yeah,
you have too many.
Yeah, no, it was kind of funny in the Sask Open. We were on Scorched Earth playing Adam, and he used a secret mission to be on 3 middle primaries. After I already burned one of the 3 in the middle.
I guess it wouldn't count
and
then.
You have to be on 3 in No Man's Land.
No, you could do it because you could do it on his. It's 3 objectives outside your deployment, so you could do your opponent's.
Gotcha.
So it's theoretically possible, but very difficult.
He was trying to
obviously.
stretch out bikes, one squad of 6 bikes. In his boat. That was a really good game actually. We had a good game with that. We didn't know which way it was going to go. I really wanted him to get the ticket after driving out there with me.
But you couldn't just give it to him.
You wouldn't give it to him, man.
Fuck that.
He was like, all right.
I was like, I'll be on your team for teams, and we'll get it together then.
Attaboy.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, you played to win.
You got to earn it. You got to earn it. Regardless if you guys are teammates, you should always be playing.
You can't throw a game like that.
Well, the thing is there was Adam, and then literally the last 3 undefeated people were me and 2 teammates.
Right.
So I played Adam in the semifinal, and then I played in the final game against undefeated Morgan, the guy that I started playing with back and forth. And Anthony was on the other side, and he paired down into a 3-1. But because of strength of schedule, he won the 3-1, and I won the 2 4-0 games.
Right.
And because my first opponent went 1-4, I came second. But it stings a little bit because if I won, he would have got the golden ticket anyway, and I'm really going for faction points because I want World Leaders best in faction. And
what are you now?
I want the trophy for it. In general, I actually had to email BCP because they're not updating it yet, but I'm in second, and I'm about 15 points behind the first guy.
15 points is nothing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely nothing. You get from a good performance in a tournament, you get, as far as ITC points, like somewhere between like 160 down to like 120-ish is like, top 8.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah.
If my math is right, but
so you click on 40K, like complete rankings. Yeah.
I know how to do it.
I'm sorry. And unless they've updated it, what you'd have to do is go into the Canada rankings and then find me, and then add together my top 4 scores, and it's like within like striking distance of first, like one.
This is Canada.
Yeah, it should be.
So you're not up there yet, hey? Because they haven't updated.
But for
no, like for world leaders,
for
like
world
best in faction in the
best
world.
in fact.
Oh, I just went to that. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
You gotta go back. When he was teaching you a second ago, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can learn. Now we're ready.
Yeah. Now.
Oh, isn't it just? No, that's weird.
If you click Canada, well, you can see my top 4.
No, here,
like,
you're not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
now
right
it's
spot,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. You're good.
So they're at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not even on the world leader rankings yet, but I'm like 730.
So for Canada, you're probably somewhere in Canada, probably high up in Canada.
I'm
there's Lane.
I'm 730 something.
Good for
David
if you
here.
add together my top 4 scores.
David
but I'm not
Corn's
in
up
world
there.
leaders Canada right now.
Oh.
I'm like literally not there.
Oh wow.
But if you go into actual overall Canada rankings, my 4 top scores are on there.
Oh, so they're just not counting you at all right now. for
And
some
world
reason.
leader, I literally shot them an email like 2 days ago.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't like you. Maybe
Probably.
Like, screw this
I
guy.
get it. Neither do my parents.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't like me either. So
Trauma dump. Trauma dump.
Like world leaders, get out of here.
Yeah.
that's good shit.
Yeah.
So what's your points at? So if this is world leaders, the top one is at
It'll be
754.
730 something.
Right.
So okay, so you are okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah.
I think we recently looked, and Cass, you were number 4, 6 Death Guard. What were you at?
4 in Canada and
4 in Canada.
46 in the world.
That's pretty good. I think I'm 7 Imperial Knights in Canada.
Imperial Knights in general is just a mistake.
Whoa, shots. Hot take alert. Wait, hold on. Hurtful take alert.
I think they actually got a lot better. With Pariah Nexus. Movement's good. The shooting action's really good.
Yeah, I think the buffs. Maybe we don't need to go on a huge Imperial Knights tangent, but the buffs were good. It's but it's more quality of life improvement than straight buff. I think like moving through walls is good. If you were playing Imperial Knights well, it's not a huge deal. Like there was literally one tournament, Rumble in the Rockies. I don't know if Cass was there when we played that tournament. No fault of the TOs. They just were working with the terrain they had at the time. Not a big deal. Everybody else had to play on it too. That's not no slight to them. The worst terrain for Imperial Knights.
It was terrain level. It was terrain layout 4, but you couldn't. But the way they situated the building, so the L that had the 2 different situations, like that layout, right?
Yeah.
But they usually put the buildings in the back so you can walk right through it.
Yeah.
Right.
This one, the buildings were in the front. So
yeah,
that'd be nice.
There's supposed
Where's
to be.
my invite?
For you, you're good.
Oh,
but
it was brutal.
So in that, it's awful.
Yeah, for Knights it was absolutely brutal. But yeah, it's been good changes. I've had some success with Imperial Knights in the teams event. We didn't end up pairing in the most recent teams event, unfortunately. We also beat David's team. In fairness,
There you go. I think we're staying with you guys in Edmonton.
So we've got a not next weekend, the following weekend.
Yeah,
we're going to a 4-man teams event up in Edmonton, hosted by Taps. Apparently, so Taps. I don't know if you've been to Edmonton at the Taps store.
I've been to Edmonton and played before. Never been to Taps.
Okay, so Taps. I'm told they've had tables in the back or something. They had a huge renovation over the past couple months. Really good store. Just straight up like retail store, like good stock, good prices, all that good stuff. But they did a big reno, so they have a bunch more space. So yeah, we are Cass is part of our Bloodbath and Beyond team. You guys are playing under what banner?
The Florida Panthers.
That's what I'm saying.
That's so random.
No, that's why I say we gotta change we can change our team name, but the affiliate teams are they are.
We'll still get as Tony refers to Dick swinging points for Florida Bloodbath. I mean, I kind of like repping the brand the whole way, man. I mean,
whatever.
But you're the Florida Panthers. Why?
Well, because the Edmonton Oilers lost to the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals.
To stick it to the Edmonton.
And Matthew Tkachuk, man. And Sam Bennett. Don't forget about him, too.
Man, all of our England and U.S. viewers are like, what the hell is going on right now? What are you talking about?
Well, we're Canada, and we like hockey, so...
Yeah, but we're bringing a pretty good team to that.
You are. It's you, Dave... what was his name? Nathan?
Adam and Nathan, yeah.
Adam and Nathan, right? Yeah, I just met Nathan at the last tournament. Super nice guy. But we've got Cass, myself, Mark, and Jeremy.
So who gets what matchup?
Ooh, that's a good brain experiment. So you guys have World Eaters, Votan,
probably
GK. And
Probably not AdMac, eh? He's probably going Grey Knights.
I don't know.
Oh,
he's playing Grey Knights on Sunday, but he's been really liking AdMac.
They're good.
And like especially because we were talking about for like the Sask team tournament.
Yeah.
What army he was gonna bring? Because he feels like he's kind of like a little out of sorts right now.
Okay.
So he said he needs practice games to be able to play against like Team Canada level players.
Sure.
But
which we are obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're on the Discord.
Yeah. We pay to be on the Discord.
That's what's up. I'm not on the Discord.
That's right. Get out of here.
I should be the easy matchup. And then he's just I don't know what he's gonna play there, but Nathan will probably play CSM.
Did he play CSM at the last team?
I like that. I like
it
CSM.
was CSM.
I think CSM's are really
Super
cool.
strong.
Yeah, I think they're really.
We have to keep now that he told us all the secrets. We have to keep our team comp super secret.
Yeah.
No, it's.
I'm not worried.
Literally, you saw it fucking 2 weeks ago. It's the plus Cass.
There you go.
Cass is our ace in the hole.
That might be the game changer right there.
We'll see.
That's the.
I still need practice though.
Cass is
I need
the TSN turning point right here.
Are you bringing Death Guard?
Oh
no.
Okay, I was gonna say if you were Death Guard,
I was gonna reveal it, but I wasn't gonna reveal it. But
I was gonna say if you were,
I know what you guys are gonna tech for me, so you fuckers.
We'll just release this after the fucking tournament.
Yeah. If you were Death Guard, I was gonna say that would be like your best bet for World Leaders.
Oh
yeah. Oh, for sure, 100%. I think if we were Death Guard to go into World Leaders, we would definitely put me against you every time, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I'm Sisters.
He's being Sisters. They're so strong right now.
The last time I played Sisters was Riley in December. So
yeah, we got the Codex now.
I've not seen the new Codex.
We got the Codex. I think Sisters probably has a pretty good matchup into World Leaders because
I don't know what they do. So against me in general,
they should just charge me.
Yeah, but you at the beginning of the show, you just said you didn't know what anybody does, and you just smash people.
Yeah, you still smash anyways. It
doesn't actually matter.
Yeah,
I only say that because a sister. What's the Sisters of Flame? No,
I could do a last minute audible though in Death Guard. You're like, fuck it, there's too many World Leaders players. God damn it, no. If there was like so many World Leaders players, we're like,
well, we don't know how many there'll be until the list.
We just know one.
We know there's at least one very good one.
Well, the funny thing is, like before the Classic, like nobody was really even thinking about
World
Leaders at all.
No one was. And do you know what the funny thing is because Custodies lost their fight first, they were the army to keep you in check.
Yep, 100%.
They were the army. And they kept Thousand Sons in check. And guess what dominated the tournament when Custodies got shit? Thousand Sons and World Leaders.
Yep. 100%.
Right? Like there was 2,000 Sons and there was World Leaders player 1. 2,000 Sons got in the top 4. Yeah. So it's like
I have not so secretly been slowly amassing a very like budget World Leaders army.
No way.
100%.
What? No, you sold it.
No, I sold the big box. So I got the big box with Angron, the Christmas box with Angron, and I was like, I'm nowhere near like completing this army, and I could use an extra whatever it was, $300. I sold that, but what I have now is I can't remember what they're called. They're in the fantasy lineup, the like berserker guys with like the mauls. They have like these swinging like maul hammers.
Okay,
those are my Exalted 8-bound.
Okay.
I have Possessed as my 8-bound. I'm just like buying this all like piecemeal here and there. Yeah. I've got like 30 old versions of the Berserkers. Yeah. I've got like 3 Rhinos. I've got some Chaos Spawn.
Yeah. You should paint them like ambiguously, and then you'd also have a start to Emperor's Children.
Or just a Chaos Army, really.
Could you just paint them like Santa Claus and just be all Christmas?
Yeah, that's true.
Sinterklaas, red and white, which is just World Leaders.
Well, no, and put little hats on them, get marked to print 3D little hats, and you put them on.
I still haven't put a cowboy hat on my Gloctopus. If I haven't done that. You're on the dumb train? That's dumb?
No, I'm saying it's dumb that you haven't.
It's dumb I haven't done.
You got to put it on there. Yeah.
The Glock. Well, especially because we got our, we wore them at the last tournament, but we got our Bloodbath and Beyond kind of Western branded shirts.
Yeah.
Those jerseys are pretty cool.
They're a little bit small. Mine's a little bit small.
What sizes did you get?
I got an XL, which seemed fine, but it's a little bit tight.
Traditionally, Warhammer players are known for like wearing jerseys of like 3 sizes too small, though.
That's true. We tend in a larger direction, whether it's width-wise, height-wise. Who knows?
So I haven't even seen them yet. They look cool because I get mine.
They look pretty cool. Are you talking about like those button-up ones?
Yeah, we got instead of
polo shirts.
They look really clean.
Yeah, we didn't do the jersey, which is like the typical I think go-to for most teams. We went with bowling shirts, which look Super cool.
Yeah,
With
that logo looks sick
Cax
too.
logo on one side. I think we got Fenris Workshop on the other side.
Yeah.
We're looking sharp.
You know what? I like the Prairie Fire has like baseball jerseys kind of
Yep.
style.
I like
but
that.
But your guys' jerseys probably do look cooler than ours.
Thanks, man. We won the jersey fight.
Yep. You
Yeah.
won the moral.
No
battle.
golden tickets, but we got a jersey.
Yeah, no
okay.
golden tickets. Yeah.
So if you guys got golden
Yes.
tickets, would you go to Atlanta?
Yep.
I mean, how do you say no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd make it work.
Yeah, you just make it work, right?
Yeah.
Because they a golden ticket.
Wait,
means,
I'm going to open up a Cax in Atlanta. All right. Boom.
Yeah.
All right, government.
guys, I'm going to sell so much beer in Atlanta. Just you wait.
Yeah. You got an account going on.
So my
right.
question for you is, if you started filling out World Eaters, knowing everything that you know about the faction, what's your like dream list?
Ooh, that's a good question.
good- yeah, I like
Honestly, probably looks exactly like your list. Like I'm not it's
No,
because
and no, he's serious because he likes MSU. That's all he loves.
I love.
Yeah.
I mean, I play Imperial Knights, but other than that,
No, but I mean,
I
like,
do
okay, but
like
how
the
long you
MSU.
been workshopping the Necron MSU list, right?
100%. That's I've been working on the Necron MSU list for months and months now. I think I'm getting close to something. We'll see. But yeah, so I've got aside from what I mentioned, I've also got Lord Invocatus. I've got a Master of Executions. I've got a Karn.
Yeah.
I've got the list minus Angron right now. I just got to go pick up an Angron.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna smash it.
honestly,
and
man-
it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of basing. It needs a lot of painting, which I'm exactly in your camp. I wouldn't say hate. I severely dislike painting.
I'm horrible at it,
Dude, I'm
I have
okay
zero
at it, but
patience. I'm a child.
That's it.
Yeah.
I just don't have the patience for it. Like I can sit down and I can add some detail to a knight, or I can like hammer out a character or something like that.
Yeah.
Give me an hour and a half of hobbying, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this.
For me, it's like 7 to 8 minutes, like tops.
Yeah.
Of me sat down, I get like the paints out. Well, because my buddy, like, as a consequence of running Harlequins and just kind of doing really well with them, he made me start to paint my own Harlequins.
Oh, man, that's
and it was
mean.
just like, oh.
That's mean.
And
Those
like,
models are tiny and they have cool details.
They look
Yeah.
horrible.
Oh.
And it's like on top of that, I have like this horrible army that I used to play with, and like I got like really meaty like sausage fingers. So it's like at tournaments, I got like these little like Eldar thing, and I'll be like breaking models like halfway. Like it was a mess.
Well, I was recently asked on another podcast, and they're talking about Warhammer tournaments and like and mind games. Now, broken models are one of the biggest
I had
mind games you
never
could
heard
ever do
this.
this, because like think about it. Okay, so like Lich Guard, you know how they have stupid little hands, they have
Yep.
stupid little swords. They always break.
They always break,
But
yep.
I show up and I say there's swords, and I show up and I go against Frasier, and he's just probably like, oh fuck, this guy's played a few times. He's played a few games. They're broken. He's moving them around a little bit. There's a few broken ones. There's a few not ones. And then you're already in the opponent's head that, oh, this guy's really good.
That was
In the case, I'm not. I'm terrible
That
with
was
my
a,
Necrons,
that was a,
but,
that was a
like-
cool take. I'd never heard that before.
Is that a thing?
I mean,
Yeah.
listen,
Hey, if I saw a bunch of broken spears and models on a guy, I'd be like,
Man, you would love my World Eaters. Sort of arms. Like,
Okay, well, they have to have arms.
I have an army.
Talk about the fragile.
I have an
little
army of amputees just running over here.
Hey,
thing. Like, oh shit, this guy.
it's
plays.
the war amps.
This guy's got problems.
Yeah.
Going to war.
Yeah.
The
Well,
war
I
amps
think
go to
because
war.
I'm not a hobbyist, I don't really look too closely at the armies that
Oh
I'm
no,
playing.
never.
And yeah,
My favorite
don't
thing
know.
about playing against Ozzy was like he plays MSU Eldar. He's played some Tyranids recently, but his like standby for the past little while was MSU Eldar, and he literally just has like a pile of dudes. He like slaps them on the table, starts sorting them out in front of you. I was like,
Man, I want to get
this
that.
is
Like,
this is this. That's
Understanding
I
what he
that's I wanna
does,
do.
like to make lists and stuff. It's crazy. Like he was, I think at the classic, I was talking. I'm like, so like we were talking about like Tyranids, and then he went on like exactly why he built the list he did. It's just gargoyles and like gargoyle jail. That's what he was
Yep.
basically doing. But the way he described it, it's like, yeah, I'm 30 inch there, 30 inch there, and I don't play Warhammer. And I do this, and I'm like, holy fuck! Like you just went right over me. Okay, now I have to think about this for a second. Okay, now I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. Right? He's already five inches ahead of me, and we're just having a beer in the parking lot, and that's already happening, right? So
Ozzy, on top of being like a good player, he's like stressful to play against because his brain just runs so fast that he rolls dice so fast. You're like, wait, like what are you doing right
Yeah,
now?
hold
and
on a
he's, and he's
second,
like, oh,
yeah.
like take this many, and you're like, what? What is like? I can keep up like on the game, but like I just have no idea like what he's doing or like what he's rolling because it's all like just kind of like takes place in his head. And it's like
that's where most of my battles happen.
he's a
and-
machine. He's
and
a
he
machine.
brings
That's
like
what
this like
he is, yeah.
frantic pace to the game.
Okay, I've only ever played him once, and I would not describe him as frantic. I would describe it, at least my experience.
It's calculated.
It's
but it's
mega calculated.
Yeah.
Everything that I did, he already knew the response for it and was going to do it in 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and I'm already dead. Right? It was like every little piece that that my counter play was already countered.
Yeah.
Right, it was boom, 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 boom. Very, very mechanical, super like chill guy, but very mechanical. Very like you mentioned before he even gets on the table. He knows exactly what the plan is, and if you don't have an answer for the plan, which probably most people wouldn't, that's just it. You're just gonna lose.
Yeah,
you're just gonna lose the game. And I think it's I didn't see his list at the Classic, but I was told the reason he was playing it was Endless Swarm.
Yeah,
Endless
Tyranids.
Swarm. Yeah.
It's just because they're just gonna score, right?
I think he only ran 20 gargoyles, but
he's playing a
they're
list.
fine.
He's playing a
They're
list
fine.
where he's going to put it on the table and he's going to score 75 points.
He dropped.
Doesn't matter what you do.
1,000 Suns.
Just dropped to
like-
1,000 Suns.
like-
That's an
like-
upgrade, man. That's fucking terrifying.
No.
I think Magnus is the best.
Oh, he dropped
in
a
the
game.
Tournament.
God, he
Yeah.
dropped a game. I thought you
Yeah.
said he was playing them. I was like,
yeah,
Shakiran,
he's
right?
stupid.
terrifying.
Well, if you're playing 1,000 Suns in general, you got like childhood trauma issues.
oh, man.
Something's going on. Something's going on. That you read that pig Latin that
Yeah.
they have for like a index online, and you're like, wow, this looks really fun to play.
This is my play style.
And this is the most World Eaters take on 1,000
Yeah.
Suns I've ever heard.
Like the Cabal points.
This is
are
like the lore.
Yeah, you could tell me literally anything. It could be like, oh, like I've got 20 Cabal points. I get to sleep with your girlfriend after the game, and I'll be like, that might be.
Well,
in your
all right,
interest.
yeah.
That
All
sounds more reasonable.
And you're like, how did I even allow this to get that many cabal points? Like, what did I do wrong in the game?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know it was on the table even.
Yeah,
Damn.
1,000 Suns. I just kind of check out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run at you with like more things than you can
That's it.
Overwatch. And see
That's
if
it.
I can. I actually played them for the first time in the team tournament. I played Brandon Powell. We actually got a pretty nice Alberta Classic.
very good.
You got him, though. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
It was pretty handy too. I think it was 18-2.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah.
That's
Not
1,000
close,
Suns is a wild one. The 1,000 Suns is like you gotta, especially in a team atmosphere playing against good players.
That's his main army too.
Well, Brandon can smash them for sure. I'm just saying, 1,000 Suns are very, very good right now, but you have to have the right player, especially if you want to take them, like I said, to like a team atmosphere with other good players, because you got to be switched right on the whole time. Like that's, man, I can't even imagine playing. I play Hypercrypt Necrons for one tournament, and I'm like, my brain hurts.
Yeah.
Let alone playing fucking 1,000 Suns. Like, forget about it.
So I play World Eaters. You can get like a lobotomy before the tournament, and you get
Just
the
go.
same result.
The one brain cell. Yeah.
yeah. Are they?
No,
in
that's
range?
orcs, man. That's orcs.
Well,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's more shtick and like units with orcs, and you can
Yeah.
teleport some stuff.
that's true. You can up, you down, and you can.
I think
no, they always roll a 1. Weird boys always roll a
once, I've
1.
never seen
They ain't moving shit.
with the teleporter or whatever the fuck it's
Weird
called.
boy.
The weird boy, but he has a teleporter.
No, it's just like it's a caked in ability to his data sheet. It's like a roll 2 and up. It happens.
Yeah.
Roll 1, take D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, we're thinking about what it's called though.
It's called the
No, I know.
Is it called the?
It's called the teleporter or something like that.
I go wherever. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't look it up. Orcs have a codex now. Never mind.
Paywall immediately.
Either way,
Yeah.
or move them. I don't know. Yeah, what is it
Yeah,
called?
I guess that's a good point. Orcs probably do have I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to
Weird
say. More nuance than
teleport.
World Eaters.
Name.
I think the WA timing is probably like the hardest. Like you said in the World Eaters versus Orcs matchup, for sure. The WA timing is like the whole deal,
Yeah.
obviously. Especially when you're playing Bully Boys.
Well, the nice thing is you can actually outweight the wall.
Guys, it's the jump.
The
Come on,
jump.
we're dumb.
It's not a
Fucking-
teleporter.
Yeah, it's just the jump.
The jump.
Oh.
I love Orcs.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Hilarious.
But yeah. So I don't know. Like you can definitely because you move further, like base with World Eaters, so you can kind of move around the wall. And
Right.
like in general, like I've watched a lot of stream games of
You've
World Eaters with like
watched a lot
with
of it?
with
Yep.
like yeah, exactly. I've
Yep.
watched a lot of stream games with like good World Eater players, and just in general, like I play the most patiently I've ever seen
Yeah.
anybody play World Eaters. Like some games I just like that poor game against Gordon in
Would you beat Gordo?
Oh,
in the Alberta Classic.
5, I think?
Yeah, I was like 99-17. Like turn 1, I was like,
Oh, Jesus.
I don't want to deal with you.
Love Gord. Love Gord.
Yeah, and then the funny thing is after that, he's like, oh, I think I got your army figured out. He's like, I want a rematch. And then he like deployed differently in like a practice game, and he lost like, I don't know, like 130, and he's like, I just don't want to play you anymore.
Yeah, I don't get your army.
But yeah, no, I just play them. I think because it helps me because World Eaters have a reputation of being that really, I'm gonna run at you like right off the bat, and
Yep.
you just gotta, and that like gives me the space I need to literally just start scoring. And when you figure out what I'm doing halfway through the game, it's not that you really have a choice. You have to deploy that far back, and you have to come up to me eventually.
Yeah.
But now that I think a few people were like watching maybe a few of my interviews or whatever on like for like the Sask Open because I had a few closer games. One of my
but that's a good thing though too, right? And also at the end of the day, you know what we always say here, even on the channel, when we're on the podcast, you still like if we reveal a secrets, like we just reveal the teams, whatever, right? You still got to beat us.
Yeah.
Like we can tabletop to theory, it's two different things, right? And you still got to be us. So like you can reveal all your secrets and about worldies and like what you try to do, but am I going to implement that against you? Well, probably not, right? Like or maybe, right? It's weird scenario.
You still got to put it on the table, and you might like you said, theory is one thing, but what's the quote from the boxer with the face tattoo?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, thank you. I couldn't think of I was gonna say Michael Jordan. I'm like, I'm sure that's wrong.
Names today.
I'm pretty sure his quote was, you know, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah,
and that's like World Leaders 101, right?
That's good.
Well, even it's such a dynamic game where things can change like so frequently. It's like after the classic, I had tons of people messaging me saying like, "Hey, what did you do? How did you do it?" I don't know. Like there's a guy that I'm talking to online that he wants coaching for World Leaders right now. So I'm like, literally, I don't have a by and large answer for you. You need to take a photo of the board for me when you don't know what to do, and I will tell you what I would do. I need you to give me a board state, and in my brain, then I can work through what you need to do this turn to set yourself up for next turn.
Yeah.
But like apart from there's no like by and large like I tell you what my army did in like 6 games, and then you'll know what I'm going to do against you because it's so dynamic, and then what you do changes what I do, and there's no like cookie cutter way to.
But there's no like the matchups are never the same either, right? Like you can go against Death Guard players. You can go at it again.
Yeah.
The game's gonna be different than our last game. Like it's not gonna be the same. If you do coach them, would it be like TTS?
Literally, I am not that organized yet. There's been a couple people that have asked, and literally, it's just all I'm saying is like, send me your list. I'll help you build lists around like how you want to play it. I'm not just like, send me your list. Then I just send them like my list back, and I'm like, play this. Merge 2 squads of Exalted if you like the 6 brick.
And the rule of cool is a real thing.
But yeah, like I want you to run what you feel comfortable running. If some people are making like weird unit choices, I'll get like
Terminators.
Are
you advising 30 Terminators now?
Well, if you can, you know what? If you can, nobody's even won a tournament without Angron yet.
Is that true?
Actually, I might. Okay.
Oh.
In the works.
Oh.
The team tourney, no Angron.
Hot take alert. No Angron. 30 Terminators.
Well, the thing is like I had a couple games at.
You know we're feeding you on Saturday, right?
Oh yeah.
Baby, it's gonna be good.
Oh no,
we're
we
doing
get
barbecue
steaks
on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll do some steaks.
Steaks.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Japanese? This is a very local take, but have you ever been to Japanese Village?
No.
Japanese Village here in Calgary and maybe everywhere. I don't know. There's one in Edmonton. They're all over the place. The best steak sauce you've ever had in your entire
unreal.
life.
Really?
It's like
unreal.
like a toasted sesame seed type, not like A1. It's like a toasted sesame type thing.
And it has citrus in it, so it breaks down the fats.
It's so good. We're having a barbecue Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah. So for context, for people who are listening, we're just talking about ourselves right now. At the team tournament, we're all bunking in, as we mentioned before. But we don't want to go out Saturday night. We're just gonna have a grill, barbecue. We have a big house, and
it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to the little bachelor pad Warhammer.
I think so. I know you guys are gonna name yourselves the Florida Panthers, but I was gonna say in the last team tournament that me, Mark, and Jeremy went up for, which was a month-ish ago now, it was, I think they said like 80% not local. Like people are showing up from all over the place. Like Cold Lake, I think there was some from Saskatchewan. There was all kinds of guys coming out. So
what are we at now for this tournament?
I don't know. I'd have to go look at it.
I think there's 16 teams max. I think there's 12 registered right now.
Something like that.
Not necessarily all of them are filled out with their players yet.
No, they've got a little bit of lag on like showing the teams and stuff. So
there's 12 registered. But yeah,
it'll fill up. It'll be a good show.
It'll be nice. And if you guys doing food, like we'll bring drinks, whatever. We'll get on.
Well, I happen to know a beer rep, so
I also get like wholesale.
Yeah.
Okay, so but you're in charge of steaks, so
true.
You can't have all the things.
Wholesale.
Listen, if you want to bring beers,
do it.
Bring some beers. I think I'm good. Thank you, there. I appreciate it.
But yeah, either way, like
13 teams.
Nobody's won with no Angron yet, and twice in Sask, Angron died in the first turn without doing anything. Like against Guard, he failed a 4-inch charge and 2 tanks. And he immediately died, and I had to play the entire game with essentially like just above 1,500 points world leaders.
Yeah. And he never came
I
back.
won like
I
100 to
assume.
30. So like it's like we're so good, and
Yeah, you're
I
fine.
think it's possible just because like. I don't want to sound cocky when I say this, but like I'm almost getting bored of my games at the moment. With like
the same list,
with
for sure.
with my list. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting like I'm not getting that itch, and like the last competitive itch I really got was playing into like literally like Tau on what felt like should be an unwinnable game. Like I had fun,
Yeah,
right? And it's not that I'm not having fun. I just
No,
like
but the challenge.
like I've already got the biggest World Leaders tournament win of the
Yep.
like of this season.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna have to balance it to see like what kind of reward for like faction points is available. So balancing whether I want to bring my like I'm confident with this list, or if I want to like roll the dice and see if I can get a win for the non-grom.
Make something weird.
which would be nice.
Do you have any other armies, or that's just World Leaders?
I have actually a full Death Guard army, painted like the Frozen Plague, which is really nice, like the UV
Slap
resin
chops
bases. I don't know how Morgan painted it.
Oh, right.
I can't.
That's right, yeah.
I can't tell you.
And I gotta
Here I am
find
telling
all my
you,
stuff.
yeah.
I
And
think
then-
Mark will paint all my stuff for me. Maybe. If I give him some shekels, right?
Yeah, you have to give him some shekels.
Some shekels.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
shekels.
Yeah.
Yeah, give him a schleeb. You don't watch Rick and Morty?
It is a schleeb. Is that
It's
what
a
it's called? The
schleeb.
weird little tentacle ball thing?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This is how you make a schleeb. Yeah, spit on it.
Have you guys ever watched Gary and His Demons? It's like a Canadian version like Rick and Morty. It's on
No,
Prime.
sorry, what's it
It's
called?
Gary and His Demons.
Gary and his demons.
Give the couple episodes a rip. It's on Prime. It's really
Oh,
good.
sweet.
Cool.
But either way,
Yeah.
I have the Death Guard, Chaos Demons, and then obviously Harley Quinn.
Oh, you got lots. So if you get bored of World Leaders, you just play something else.
They're so good right now, dude. I need the best in
You just
faction.
can't help. You can't help. You can't help but win.
If it's a big tournament, I'll be taking them
Yeah,
to
of
try and
course.
get like the best in faction.
Of course, of course, of course.
And in Atlanta, I want to do acceptably well.
Oh, of course you do.
So-
And we're gonna see some kind of change before Atlanta, because that's in, you said, November.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get points. We're gonna get something like that.
I need people to keep bringing Terminator lists to keep that win rate low. or I'm gonna get a. Well, the thing is like, if my points didn't change and I still had to bring my classic list,
Yeah.
I would feel great about it.
Sure.
But now that I've had a taste of what extra feels
What
like,
could be.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
getting
yeah,
reverted to that would be like the end of the world.
Getting a cherry on top.
Yeah, but to be honest, like our win rate's already climbed up to like a 53%.
Yeah, but that's where you want to be. Like that's as far as like GW is
You'll be-
concerned.
you'll
That's
be
like
nerfed,
that's like
though.
the sweet spot.
Yeah.
At 53, I don't think
Like
so.
I think
The problem with World Leaders is that they
Look what they did to
oftentimes
sisters.
feel bad
Look what
to
they
play
did to
against,
them.
right?
Yeah.
That's
Did you
what
see that
don't
data
know.
slate? Red. It was all red.
but that-
every
aren't
unit.
they still like
Yeah, but that was
technically the
they're
best
still
army in
like
the
they're
game?
huge.
Still awesome.
They're still fine. That's because that was
Still awesome. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
I'm just complaining.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm complaining about nothing.
the sea of red
I'm a
was-
victim.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it is. Yeah.
because that was because the data slate was working off of codex points, which were already out of date. And then that red brought them way down. Because
because they had. It wasn't codex points. It was actually the other data slate points.
Oh,
but
was
the
it?
codex had different ones because it was already printed like a year ago.
Oh, right. That's
Right?
what I mean. But
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they were either way. You got big points increases all across the board,
Yep.
which needed to happen. It was the same
100%.
thing with the Tau Codex, right? When you got Tau Codex, where we were that weird space where the Codex was released, but the points hadn't been updated yet. So Monka was like crazy broken because everything didn't cost correctly and
Yeah,
had cool
yeah.
new rules and everything.
Yeah, it was
So,
awesome.
same thing as it was
Well,
super cool.
And yeah, here we're at an hour and 20 minutes now. See, the time just flies.
It does.
It just flies. At first, it was it was good, but
Talking some more.
I think we can kind of wrap it up here. I hope everyone else enjoyed getting into Frasier's head here about World Leaders. He's the threat here at the Worlds.
We'll see.
World champion.
We will.
We're gonna go for it, hey?
In the making. World champion in the making.
Yeah.
One of the best
Hey,
Death
man.
Guard player or World Leader players in the world.
I mean-
Death Guard. pff,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Death Guard sucks.
yeah, they suck.
Hot
Cass
take.
is one of the best Death Guard in the world, right? In Canada, for sure.
Yeah, well, hey guys, and let us know if you guys want to hear anything else. Is there a faction focus you want to hear? Please leave in the comments. We do know some people that can maybe bring some insight, and we do go to a lot of tournaments, and we love it here. Ben, take it away.
Yeah. Like Cass said, we are doubling back to the World Leaders kind of faction focus, but that's because
They're awesome.
Pariah Nexus. Well, first of all, they're
Yeah,
fucking awesome as
they're
hell.
so cool, yeah.
Second of all, Pariah Nexus, as many people have been saying, is kind of 10th edition 0.5, right? Like this is kind of a different game. So very happy to have you on, Frasier. I appreciate it. You tried to do my closeout, I think, last episode, and you almost made it there. It just didn't have the same kind of punch to it. So, folks, as always, please like, comment below, and never forget to smash that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Bloodbath Tactics.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.